Good morning. I want to continue some of the exploration and experience that had experienced on April 20th. The celebration of the day was extraordinary, and I expressed how much joy and freedom and just the wonder of that day was. And then Sunday, I left town and I was with my bonus dad and my mom and my dad and visiting and sharing with them. And while I was there, I found myself quiet, very, very quiet. I was in a very listening state, and I wasn't sure whether that was because the previous day, all the celebration left me feeling quiet the next day. So I puzzled and I questioned. And then Monday, I decided to spend the entire day doing exactly what I did on April 20th, and I had a day of, it wasn't necessarily a celebration because I was coming at it from a different perspective. It was not going into a sacred space. It was not celebrating a sacred day. It was simply, let's see what this is. Let's explore this. Let's understand this. This is sort of a study day. And so I did partake of the cannabis all day on Monday, and I had lots of different experiences and thoughts, and I went through processing. And then the next day, I was able to see something that I didn't see just having celebrated on Saturday and then watching Sunday, but on Monday and Tuesday, then I was able to put the pieces together. And often that's the way the journey goes. You get one piece here, you get one piece there, you get one piece there. You have to experience things on different levels at different times, from different mindsets, from different intentions, for different purposes, in order to understand what those pieces are and how they fit together. And what I came to realize, something that I've always known on a small level and a more clear and in-depth level, was there is after, the day after. And I only can use the word dull because I don't really have any other really good explanation of what the feeling is. But dull is the sort of word of the day after feeling. So you're in the moment on Saturday, in the moment on Monday, and you're feeling this sort of exalted experience. Yeah, there's a lot of song, there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of natural peace, a flow. It's really quite deeply spiritual, but also it's very much a human thing, as if you were taking a celebration to another level. But the day after, there's something to be learned. And I came to realize that dull is explained if you imagine being outside in a bright sunny day without sunglasses on, and then going into your house. Now you're in your house every day and it's perfectly normal and everything's at a perfect illumination. However, if you spend a few hours or even 15 minutes outside in the bright sun without any sunglasses and you go inside, everything in your house seems dull, a little bit less light, a little bit ordinary, a little bit maybe harder to navigate, because your eyes have adjusted to this other state, this brighter state, and your pupils have gone really, really tiny, because it's like being in the presence of God. You're in a different state. Your whole body is reacting differently. And then all of a sudden you're back in your ordinary space and it seems different. It's not as sparkly or as luminescent as it normally would be. And part of that is illusion, because it's always like that. It's not like the room itself hasn't changed. Simply your perspective of the room has changed. Being in that high exalted state means going back to the ordinary moments of life. Well, when you compare them, they just don't compare. And which could lead to a habitual situation where people are constantly seeking escape from what might be average or normal or a little bit ordinary or dull. To try to, and I can remember times of my life, especially as a single mom, where every day blended into the next and there was never any difference to them. And I remember at some point during that time that there was a couple of years where I was using cannabis regularly, and it was a form of, there was no ability for me to ever take a vacation. There was no time off. The sign over my head, the neon sign, was on 24/7. And when the kids left, which was really for 2 full days every month, I was exhausted and I would sleep. Or in work mode, I would work to do everything I couldn't do while they were there. And so as the days become the same over and over and over, there's this part of yourself that needs to make a day special, that sort of Sabbath day feeling that you get that makes it separate and set apart and different from all the other days of the week where you're engaged in all kinds of necessary activities, often work, often obligations, often responsibilities, often just tasks that need to be done. And then you have a day where you can sort of be more peaceful, more self-aware, more cognizant, more open. And so I was thinking that this is partly why perhaps spiritual people have used particularly cannabis or peyote or ayahuasca, acid. These things allow you to experience an exalted state closer to the divine mind, because the brain chemical reactions are very much the same as when you have a spiritual event. So you're inducing a spiritual event, and for seekers, that's part of the learning, part of the journey. But then the dependence comes when we stop being grateful and appreciative of the regular days, the days where the light in the room is just perfect the way it is. The curtains don't need to be open wide and the sun shining right through the window for it to be perfect inside. There are days outside when the clouds cover the sun, but the sun is always shining. There's a song I love to sing, we're here for a good time, we're here for a long time. And the lines of the song are about how sometimes it rains and sometimes the sun doesn't shine. And I never sing it that way. I always sing the sun shines every day. We may not see it. It may be on the other side of the world, or there may be clouds up above, but the sun is always shining. And that metaphor, that symbol of God, is the sun that shines day and night. Whether you see it or notice it, whether you're aware of it, whether you feel it, it's shining, never stops shining. The sun is the sun is the sun. And there's nothing that the world can do that's going to stop that. So here we are in our ordinary lives. And whether we're seeking escape because literally our lives are demanding so much more from us at a particular time than perhaps we're able to bear on our own, or whether we're seeking some sort of spiritual understanding, or whether there is an aspect of hiding from lessons, from understanding, from learning how to make your mind adapt to the ordinariness and make it special, to be open to the little special things that happen every day but we miss simply because we've got an attitude of wanting to be elsewhere, wanting it to be different than it is without celebrating what it actually is. And so I thought sharing some of this might help people on a day-to-day basis, when days are pretty much the same and maybe feel like every other day of the week, to hold on to that mindset of the specialness that is always available to us when we're looking for it, whether it's a bird song, the flowers bursting out in spring in color, the smell of some delicious aroma that makes your mouth water, the look of someone you love in their eyes when they tell you they love you, the hug from somebody you didn't expect to get a hug from, the phone call, the little things that make life extraordinary every day. And we don't need to escape into some altered state in order to experience the extraordinariness of every day. And when we do have moments that are set apart days, sacred days, celebration days, they will be all that much more blessed, all that much more exalted, all that much more supremely celebratory, because we have made them special simply by making them less frequent and more different than any other part of our life. 365 days of the year, if every day is the same, then it loses its shine. And I think that part of the journey for a lot of people who become trapped in habitual use of something, whether it's coffee or a cigarette or, energy drinks or marijuana or anything, chocolate, anything, in order to forget what is not ordinary, but is maybe not noticed because we're not seeking how extraordinary it can be. So have a magically, miraculously marvelous Monday indeed. Stay brilliantly blessed. I love you so very much.